This is the KTLA 5 News at 4. I'm Samantha Cortese.
And I'm John Finolio. We are following breaking news in Chino Hills. All lanes of the northbound 71 freeway are shut down at Butterfield Ranch Road for police activity. All traffic is currently being diverted off the freeway at Euclid Avenue. Video from the scene shows a heavy police presence across all lanes. According to reports from the scene, police had a confrontation with a woman armed with a knife. That person was transported to the hospital. Of course, this is a traffic nightmare on this busy holiday weekend. KTLA's Inland Empire reporter Shelby Nelson is headed that way, and we'll bring you the very latest details as we get them.
I am the one carrying the guns.
Now at 4, terrifying moments for people in Pasadena at the popular Apple store. A threatening, gun-toting man shows up right in front of our KTLA 5 news crew. The horrifying scene played out at the popular Old Town shopping area of Pasadena this morning. Yeah, scary stuff. The man appeared to be troubled as he opened a gun case with firearms inside, just steps away from our crew and others. Let's get right out to KTLA's Rachel Minitoff with more on this frightening ordeal. Rachel.
John, Sam, it was very scary for my colleagues who were out here working on an unrelated story when a man with 2 suitcases filled with guns appeared. He said one contained an AR-15. You can probably tell the Apple store behind us has been closed down all day as a result. Employees were understandably shaken. Now, we don't know what this man's motive was. We did hear him talking to dispatchers, saying he was in the midst of a custody battle and having a mental health crisis.
I've been trying to report attempted murder and get law enforcement to help me.
This man, who identifies himself to law enforcement as Stephen Jensen, showed up in Old Town Pasadena and unloaded a case filled with military-grade rifles. All the while, KTLA reporter Kimberly Chang and photojournalist Andre Cox were setting up for another news story when their camera filmed the encounter. Tourists visiting from the UK admitted they thought they were walking into a Hollywood movie shoot before realizing the gravity of what was happening.
Thought, oh, it must be a movie set. But then he seemed really angry and agitated, and we thought, oh gosh. So we started walking off. So I thought, I'm not going to get shot. Don't fancy that today.
I have been streaming on YouTube, and I'm on my way here. Don't you police tend to monitor social media?
The man appears to be on the phone with a dispatcher.
Calling 911 in multiple jurisdictions. Hi, ma'am. Hi, ma'am. These are my guns. Would you like to see them? Would you like to see them? I have an AR-15.
Admitting that he's carrying a host of large weapons and is parked in front of the Apple store in Pasadena.
Then we heard him counting. He went, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guns. And I looked down at the floor and I saw the guns. I was like, oh my God, okay, let's move on. So that's when we started running. Then he started shouting at us as we was walking past. So we were like, okay, let's just get away a bit quicker.
Our crews called 911. Pasadena police showed up within 2 minutes and detained the man after a brief scuffle to the ground.
And this is why you don't fight the police!
After a few minutes, I go, oh my God, I'm glad I'm alive.
My iPhone 16 Pro Max has been hacked.
Authorities say Jensen has an outstanding warrant, and it appears as though the would-be gunman was driving a car with Texas plates. So it's not clear if he's native to California or not. Otto Escalante says the situation could have very well turned violent.
The gentleman policeman who got him on the floor, he was very confident. Indeed, an excellent job. I was impressed.
And we've learned the guns were not actually loaded. The city can't tell us much more about this man, but they do believe it was a one-off incident and there's no threat to the public. That's the very latest in Pasadena. I'm Rachel Minitoff. John, Sam, back to you.
Rachel, thank you. NTSB officials are investigating whether mechanical issues and weather conditions contributed to the small plane crash near San Diego yesterday. All 6 people aboard the plane were killed when the plane went down in heavy fog, and the crash left massive damage on the ground. KTLA's Chip Yost has the latest details from the scene.
Hello there. We have been moved a little farther away from where that plane crash happened as investigators start the process of clearing the scene. But we did get an update a little bit earlier from investigators, and as part of that update, they say the pilot of that plane never reported any problems before the crash and never declared an emergency. That explosion caught on surveillance camera was likely the moment a Cessna Citation jet hit this home before careening down Sample Street here in San Diego early Thursday morning.
We were all asleep. It was like 3:50 in the morning, and I heard the two crashes really loud. I shot right up. I was screaming to wake him up.
Surjana McCarty and her husband Ben live in that home on the corner that the plane initially crashed into.
And I ran to check on the kids. They were still asleep, so I shut the door. And then I went towards the living room, towards the noise, and the floor was just, it looked like covered in like debris, burning, orange glow everywhere, like someone had turned a light on. You could see the living room, but no lights were on.
When we went to the boys' room, like she said, they were still sleeping, and like I thought a gas line had blown. I didn't know until we were out of the house and gone that it was a plane crash.
The pilot did not report any problems to air traffic control, and he did not declare an emergency.
Friday, the NTSB gave an update on its investigation. Investigators say just before the plane crashed into the neighborhood, it clipped a nearby power line, which, it appears, caused parts of the plane to off. At the time, the plane was on approach to nearby Montgomery Gibbs Executive Airport, and locals say it was foggy. However, a system at that airport that provides weather information to pilots was down. So instead, the pilot was given information about the conditions at an airfield about 4 miles to the north.
Air traffic control provided the pilot the weather conditions at Marine Corps Air Station Miramar before he began the approach to Montgomery Airport. The weather at Miramar was briefed as wind calm, 1/2 mile visibility, and 200-foot ceiling.
Amazingly, no one on the ground was killed, but unfortunately, we do hear from the FAA they believe 6 people were on board that plane when it crashed, all presumed dead so far. We've only learned the identities of 2 of those people, David Shapiro, a well-known music agent, and also Daniel Williams, the former drummer of the Devil Wears Prada band. In San Diego, I'm Chip Yost, KTLA 5 News.
SoCal Edison has agreed to pay the U.S. government $82.5 million to settle allegations tied to the 2020 Bobcat fire. This is the largest ever such settlement in California's Central District. The Bobcat fire burned some 100,000 acres in the Angeles National Forest near Azusa, destroying wildlife habitats and causing the years-long closure of more than 100 miles of trails and campgrounds. More than 100 buildings were also destroyed. The fire may have been sparked when unmaintained trees contacted SoCal Edison's power lines. The utility company has not admitted wrongdoing or fault. The money will go toward restoration and recovery.
A major milestone in our local fire recovery effort. PCH, now open to the public just in time for Memorial Day weekend.
KTLA's Angelique Hockaday has details on what drivers can expect from Malibu.
Well, this is a major change. For the last several months, the only vehicles allowed on PCH have been emergency vehicles and residents. Now, there are some guidelines you're going to want to keep in mind, but people we spoke to today say it's been a long time coming. From the excited.
Woo! I mean, very, very excited.
To the hungry, looking to support small businesses. What restaurant are you going to?
Christie's.
The long-awaited reopening of PCH is finally here. Since the January fires, an 11-mile stretch from Santa Monica to Malibu was closed to the public.
Every time we have to go to Calabasas, go around 2 hours, 3 hours trip. Now, 10, 15 minutes, we're here.
But even as the checkpoints came down this morning,